My mother-in-law forced me to marry my husband who cheated on me 52 times in 5 years, and the night of the premature birth my husband and his secretary were caught on live news after 5 years of marriage. C. Carter was betrayed 52 times. I endured it all in silence until I was 9 months pregnant. It started with his secretary offending an important client to keep the deal intact. Spean Carter, my husband, demanded I apologize on his behalf by joining them for drinks. I stared at him in disbelief. I am pregnant. You want me to drink? What if something happens? He cut me off impatiently. It's just a drink, not to take your life. Annoyed by my hesitation, he encouraged them to keep pouring drinks down my throat. The fiery alcohol scorched my throat, triggering premature labor while I fought for my life in the hospital. He spent the night with his secretary in the countryside villa. When I woke up after delivering the baby, I turned to my mother-in-law. Mom, you promised me have the baby and I could leave. Can I go now? Her face twisted with conflict and guilt. Arla, won't you give him one last chance? Before she could finish the hospital room, Dawn blared with breaking news. The screen showed Ben holding a woman draped in his jacket as they exited a car. She leaned against his chest, her face flushed with something more than just warmth. Though her body was mostly covered, the camera caught a tantalizing glimpse of her bare thigh dotted with suspicious red marks. No explanation was needed. It didn't take much to know that the two of them had just experienced a heated battle in the car. A reporter's voice filled the room. Cian Carter, CEO of the Carter Group, was spotted with a mysterious woman attack. When my mother-in-law saw this news, she was so furious that her chest rose and fell strongly. Her breathing was rapid and her whole body was filled with anger. Anger contorted her face, but when her gaze landed on me, it softened into guilt and sorrow. Tears welled in her eyes. She struggled to speak, but then choked out, "Fine, I will help you with the divorce." Look at her choking and wiping tears, my heart like something blocked. Pain pricked at my chest, sharp and relentless. Still, I held firm. I had even looked at the child I just birthed. All I knew was that he weighed 4 pounds and 5 ounces with pale, delicate skin and looked like me. A nurse approached. I was told to go and see him, to see the baby I had fought so hard to give birth to. I shook my head. As long as he's healthy, that's all that matters. If I didn't see him, there would be no thoughts, because if I did, I would never be able to let him go. But there was no way I could continue to stay in the Carter family. It was better than leaving with me and living a life of uncertainty. It would be best for him to stay in the Carter family. I lay on the hospital bed and looked out the window, thinking about leaving here and where I can go. I was abandoned from birth and grew up in an orphanage. No relatives whose blood is thicker than water, no friends who can depend on each other. I was like a tiny sailboat adrift on the vast ocean without a port to call home. My mother-in-law felt sorry for me and was even more angry at Cian's inaction. She took out her cell phone and called him frequently, trying to get him to come and see us. Finally, on her last attempt, someone answered. All she got in response was a cold, mechanical female voice. It was Madam, Mr. Carter is in a meeting right now. You can call back later. Before she could finish, a faint, unmistakable moan leaked through the phone. Mother-in-law was no fool. She knew exactly what was going on and turned pale with rage. Tell Spean this. If he still considers me his mother, if he still recognizes me as his mother, hurry up and come to the hospital. Otherwise, I'll just pretend that I haven't given birth to him in this life. Chapter 2. After ending the call, my mother-in-law's moist eyes overflowed with tears. She held my hand tightly, her voice trembling with a cry. I am sorry, Arya Riai. This is all my fault. I should never have forced you to stay with him, causing you to suffer so much rape. It was true. She had orchestrated my marriage to Ven. After I graduated from college, she arranged a blind date and told him bluntly that I was the only suitable daughter-in-law for the Carter family. He protested and fought against the idea, but he couldn't overcome her persistence. We got married at first. I thought I could found my safe harbor, someone I could rely on. I was filled with hope for our future. I poured my heart into being a good wife, putting him first. Whenever my colleagues invited me out for dinner, I declined, worried he would eat properly if left alone. Eventually, they stopped asking. I put all my thoughts on him and did not care about contact with the outside world.